Greetings, TheWarOwl greets you, and welcome to my series of tutorials on how to play Counter-Strike Global Offensive. This time, I'll be covering spray patterns. I've also dropped the skill level classification things on these tutorials because it was a stupid idea. In Counter-Strike Global Offensive, each weapon has its own unique spray pattern. It is like its own unique personality, and just like a personality, we sometimes bond with certain weapons and we sometimes hate others. While developing your style of play, though, it is important to know what you're looking for in a weapon when you pick it up for the first time. How do you learn how to shoot it? How do you bond with this individual personality you hold in your arms? When I say a spray pattern, I really mean the algorithms that define where the shots in a weapon go, based on your rate of fire and movement and other such factors. Counter-Strike is a skill-based game, so shooting is not as simple as point and click like it is in other first-person shooters. It requires understanding, training, and skill. For the purposes of this tutorial, I'm going to be using the AK-47 and the M4 as examples. Both weapons are comparable in inherent value to the player, with the AK-47 having a slight edge. However, they are both uniquely different in where the bullets go when you shoot. The best way to get an idea of the spray pattern is to find a blank wall, stop moving, place your cursor on the wall, and then hold down the left mouse button, or hold down the enter button if you want to get tricky, without moving the mouse around. What you will witness here is the standard spray pattern of the weapon. As you see, the AK-47 makes a tall, lanky, backward 7 shape, where the M4 makes a short, stumpy 7. To shoot the weapon and make all of the rounds go where you want them to, you have to understand this pattern. It has to be second nature. It has to be ingrained in your brain. You have to be able to trace, with the mouse, the mirror image upside down of this exact pattern, in the heat of battle while bullets whiz overhead. To draw the backward 7 of the AK-47, you have to pull the mouse down a little bit, and then slightly to the right, and then you have to pull it to the left. This seems easy, right? Well, the part where you can mess up on is the timing. You have to realize that this pattern isn't just a two-dimensional image you have to memorize, but it is the timing of this image as well, making it a three-dimensional image in your mind. You have to draw a two-dimensional image with your mouse and do so at the precise time. It gets even more complicated in practice when you're actually trying to shoot somebody. There are a plethora of different variables and dimensions you have to consider here. Those, like your movement, when you're moving around, it makes it a little bit more difficult for you to shoot. You can duck and it makes it even easier. This will affect the shape of it. Also your rate of fire. It'll also affect the shape of it, as well as the movement of the target you're trying to hit. That won't affect the gun, but it'll affect where you're trying to hit. You have a moving target running around there. This is why many players will completely stop to shoot, because they are removing the movement factor from the algorithm, making it easier to control their spray. This is also why many players tap shoot, because it removes the rate of fire aspect, making it easier to know where the rounds are going to go. Ideally, it makes sense to shoot as many bullets as possible, assuming that you're going to have the perfect accuracy with them and know where each shot is going to go. It also makes sense to remove as many of these factors that negatively affect the accuracy of the weapon so as to give yourself the highest predictability of use with the weapon. Now that's a lot of theory there, lots of crazy words. So before I go, I'm going to tell you something practical. I'm going to try and go over something that you can use in the field, soldier. How to learn the simple spray pattern. First, find yourself a nice flat blank wall. Stand a medium distance from it and lay down the trigger. Now that you've felt the power you hold in your arms, it is time to learn to control that power. Now. The way I taught myself spray control with each weapon is to first shoot 2 rounds, trying to get them to land in the same place. After that, I move on to 3 rounds, which gets a little bit more difficult, and then I move on to 4, and so on, until I'm able to stand completely still and get all of the rounds roughly into the same area. Now, because there's so many different weapons in the game, and a lot of them are being used now, When I'm using a new weapon that I've just picked up or that I've bought, I always shoot it against the wall to test the spray pattern first, just to get it fresh in my mind, even while I'm in-game. This goes for switching from the AK-47 to the M4. You have to completely modify how you're playing the game when you pick up an M4 after you've been using the AK-47. Because they're two just drastically different weapons. Respect the individual personality of the weapon you hold, from the sexiest AK-47 to the clumpiest, ugliest P90. Thank you. I'm the WarOwl, and I still have no closer.